Ben Fogle got in touch on Twitter, didn't you, to say to Piers, look, I'd like to discuss this issue. Now, I would have assumed your position on big game and trophy hunting was absolutely no way, but you have a slightly more, let's say, nuanced view on it.
Well, I do. Listen, it's very admirable taking your stance and focusing on the white big game hunters, but having spent a whole year now in East Africa, following the nuances of poaching, hunting, it's far more complex than that, Piers. And it's very easy to take those simple, the Walter Palmers or the Diggories of this world, or your attack of Prince William, and to use those as the poster boys of destruction of animals. But having spent time there, that's the tip of the iceberg. If we look at the statistics, 66 rhinos were killed by big game hunters between South Africa and Namibia in 2015. 1,200, I think, is the total, were killed by poachers.
Far higher revenues still come from animal tourism, where nobody dies and people pay to go on trips to see the wild, endangered animals in their wildlife. The real problem is poachers, and it seems to me the private reserves have quite sophisticated anti-poacher operations. The national parks don't, and that's a massive problem. But I just say to you, Ben, you know, you and I share a view about hunting, but I respect that genuine hunters who hunt for food or whatever, it's a different thing. The thing that really sticks in my gullet, and clearly does many people at home, from the reaction we had last week, are these very wealthy, often from America, guys like the dentists who come over, they pay 50, 100 grand or whatever, to shoot and kill lions that they can then parade their heads on their office walls. There is no reason, it seems to me, that that should be allowed to continue. Listen,
my heart totally agrees with you there. But
what about your head?
Well, OK, but when you're out... but let me just finish this first. But when you're out in Africa and you meet a young Tanzanian, a dad like you and I, they've got kids who are starving, and I look in their eyes, as I did, and I asked them what it was like when they killed an elephant. OK, and I said to them, how did you feel? And he said, it made me smile. And it made him smile because it was food on the table for his children.
I have great respect for Prince William. I think he's a fine young man. I have a problem when he, as he did last month, publicly states that there is a place for trophy hunting. And I think the reaction we had says to me that a lot of people have a problem with our future king basically endorsing what we saw with Cecil the lion.
Listen, I'm not coming here to be an apologist for Prince William. I'm not here as a representative. But what I've...
Well, you happy to hear him say that?
Well, OK, but that's taken out of context. So when he says that, OK, I don't want hunting. But if you're going to ask me, is there a place for hunting?
No, trophy hunting.
Trophy hunting.
Let's be clear about what I object to.
Yeah, trophy hunting.
I object to trophy hunting. And William basically endorsed trophy hunting. That was my problem.
Which, by the way, he was simply agreeing with a number of very senior conservationists, with a number of very with academic papers that have been done out in Africa over a number of years. All he's doing is he's subscribing to an acknowledged form of conservation. I don't like it, but what's the alternative?
Well, Ben, can you just get us straight on this? Because there will be people who say, you know, and Piers referred to it at the beginning of the interview, the money, the huge amount of money that is paid by foreign tourists who come into these communities to do this, very limited, as you say, few animals shot. Now, you might object to the, you know, heads being on the walls in offices back in America, whatever. Does that money go into the local community to help dads, like you're talking about, feed their children?
In instances, and this is
you're attacking...
Namibia, only in Namibia. You're right. Listen, I've written about it. Tanzania, it doesn't. I don't agree with any form of big game hunting in Tanzania, even if it's endorsed by conservation groups, because the money goes straight into the wrong hands. I saw it firsthand. It's disgusting. It's despicable, and we need to eradicate it. Same in Kenya. But Namibia, and that's the one example that Prince William, again, I'm not trying to be an apologist here, it's the one example that he brought up. They have a very, very good track record, and the money is going back into local hands. That's the one place where it has been attributed, and it is trickling back into those local hands.
But Ben, I would say to you, even in Namibia, I would say there's got to be another way. You know, I mean, let me give you...
But what is it, though?
Well, somebody tweeted me an analogy last night, which I thought was pretty on the point, actually. It was the human comparison would be people who've got terminal cancer, right? We should actually kill them, let them die, to save money on their care. That is the analogy you would use for elderly lions that people say should be killed by trophy hunters. We don't do it because it's inhuman. You know, we don't allow people to hunt humans. My issue is I think poaching is a massive problem. We're all agreed on that.
Yes.
You, me and Prince William and most viewers. But the trophy hunting is such a small proportion of this, and even of the money that comes in from it, vast amounts of that gets squandered or corrupted. It's that particular thing that I think really annoys people, and I don't think it needs to continue.
Piers, we're seeing from the same hymn sheet here, but what is the alternative? Because yes, it's minuscule, the amount of money, but that money is incredibly important.
The government needs to put more money, in my view,
into security.
Government and you and I.
Into security. And we as tourists, animal tourists, if you care about these animals as much as you do, and I do, and I think we all do, then go on these trips and support animal tourism.
But this is the problem, that you keep saying that tourism is bringing in all that money. I know you're trying to wrap this up. Tourism is bringing in all that money, but the money is not going into the right hands, and that's what we need to go to the grassroots level and support the locals.
Ben, we end on a point of agreement.
Yes.
It's very good to see you. Keep up the good work. Always
just
love
remind us
your
of your programme, because you spent a year filming
I did. The Great Migration, Friday, 9 p.m. on Channel 5. Amazing kind of insight into
And you've just come back from outer Mongolia.
I've been in outer Mongolia, yeah.
Is it freezing?
Minus 30.
Would you? So when we say to people as a joke, you should go to outer Mongolia, it's not funny.
Just take a thick jacket.